Hi everyone, today we're going to cover a beautiful game which is the perfect example of how much material can we sacrifice and get away with if our opponent's king is exposed. I would also promise you that this video will definitely change your view to king cons and how important winning moves are in them. So without further ado, let's go. So our players in this game are noted by Captain Sotarov, Uzbek number 1, and Thomas Bjertsen. I really don't know what age he is, maybe 15, 16, 17, maybe even 20 years old. I just don't have any idea. So Sotarov plays e4 and Bjertsen plays c5. Says, I know that you're the Uzbek number 1, but I do not fear you. I will fight you in a Sicilian and I will beat you. And then Sotarov responded, you think you can beat me? I'm called the Uzbek fighter for a reason. I'll show you, man. Also, I highly doubt they actually said this. E6, d4 takes, and now knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, and bishop e2. This is the 4 knights. French roll a lot of moves here. Bishop to b4 was chosen by Bjertsen, definitely very sharp, threatening the pawn on e4 now. And conventional wisdom would say to play queen d3, some move like queen d3 and defend it. But no, dynamic wisdom says castle development lead is very, very more important than a single pawn. Now, there were a lot of solid moves which Bjertsen could have chosen from, maybe castling, maybe d6, but no, he definitely seems to be a very aggressive player and decided to play bishop takes c3, pawn takes, and now knight takes d4. So the reason why we can give up a pawn is that now this bishop is gone, and look at these squares. Just look at these squares, right? The bishop was supposed to guard these squares, but now it's gone. So we've, black has gotten a pawn, but has lost the harmony in their position in the process. So knight takes c3, d takes c3, and it's very important we do not trade queens. Bishop to d3, knight c5, and we do not care about the pawn we sort of going to lose. There we go, queen g4. We immediately attack g7 and try to force the issue. Now, the queen goes to f6. This is all theory. Bishop g5 now, which just simply gives up another pawn. We think that at least, like, let's just keep this single pawn in for us. But the reason why we actually should not try to defend that is that sometimes, it's like our car is out of petrol and we have to just burn the furniture to keep it moving. That's what we have to do in such positions. Resemblant of every single Sicilian, really. Queen takes on c3, and now queen g3. So the idea would be a bit dubious here, it may seem. After knight takes d3, are we going to trade queens? Which is definitely not the answer. Or are we going to block the d file? Is that the answer? It also is definitely not. The correct move here is to play the cool, calm, and collected rook a to d1. And it has to be this rook. I will explain to you later why is that. And the queen just moves out of the way, rook takes, and f6 is played. Because we're simply threatening an opera mate, which you may remember from my previous video. Also, you cannot castle in this position because I have, for example, bishop h6, bishop f6 also works. And if you play g6, I can either simply take the rook or I can play queen h4, trying to checkmate you. Well, here, after rook takes d3, f6 is played, which is the most accurate move. And now, after Sotarov shows the first haymaker, brings the haymaker, rook a to d1. Amazing, rook f to d1. Amazing move. And you really do not want to take it because I'll play here in this most simple way is just simply take the rook. And, I'm always threatening some checks, maybe queen c7, down the line, some move like that. So you have to be very careful. So after rook f d1, black castles, the correct move, razor sharp accuracy, bishop h6, queen e7, defending mate, and now everything seems to have came to a halt. How can we actually even make progress here? The correct move here is to play rook to d8, like James Bond on a suicide mission, just throwing itself on the enemy monarch, but it cannot be taken because of the constant threat of a mate on g7. Now, in such position, you just have to play winning moves and pray, sort of. Black plays c5 and now h4. This is not really brilliant anymore because we know that the rook is immune to capture, being captured. b5 and now h5. So why do we play this move in the middle of a game? Play h5, h4, h5. The reason is that this pawn now controls g6, which is going to be very important for the great transformation which is awaiting us. Now, the pawn goes to e5, opening up the bishop, and now bishop takes on g7. That is what we were talking about. just simply giving up the bishop, and yeah, we're giving up another piece. Queen takes, rook, king takes rook, rook check. The king cannot go to e7 because you'll lose a rook, so king f7. So I mean, if you count the material, we're simply down a full bishop, and also a pawn, I think. Yeah, a pawn. So how are we winning? Queen to b3 check. This is the first move. Slicing and dicing. Look at this. There's only one square, and you see the importance of this h-pawn. Very, very important thing. The king goes to here, and now queen d5. We're just closing everything down on the king. The king has no moves, right? But of course, if you want to check it, it can run away from some other squares, but it's very, very important to know if this is working. Definitely, Surf had to calculate a lot here. Queen h6 is played by Bjertsen, perhaps trying to take this pawn, and after which the king can probably just run away over here. That is possible. So queen d6 check, king here, and the queen plays a very, very important role in defending this square. And this position definitely will panic. You say check, you know, I don't like check. You're gonna go here. I mean, the king would just start running away, and the game starts to slip away from your hands. But the correct move, razor sharp accuracy, pawn to f4. These moves are very, very important. This is some sort of a silent move, which the quiet move, which you really do not see. I mean, how it's really killing your position, how it's meeting the king, but it is, because queen takes f4 is met by rook f8 checking g7, because the queen does not defend f8 anymore, and we simply get to this position where you have to give your queen up. But if you play e takes f4, I've opened up just enough lines to execute a checkmating attack. Queen to c7 check, queen c6 check, queen d5 check, rook g8 check, and here the correct move was to play queen here, but I mean, this is definitely losing. Takes, and just takes. This is horrendous for black. So instead, the move king to h4 was played, not giving up the queen, and here again it's going to be a bit difficult because you see the bishop is very, very crucial now, guarding some squares which can be checkmating squares. So what do we play? We play pawn to g3, crucial move. Let me just give this a great move mark, even though that's perhaps not the only move, but the pawns are also attackers. I have talked about this a lot, and if pawn takes, which is the correct move, it was not played, this delays the mate for a few moves. We play queen to e4 check, razor sharp accuracy again, and there are a few moves here. If you block with the bishop, there's checkmate. If you go here, there's just checkmate, and if you go to h5, there's also checkmate with the queen over here. The bishop goes to h3 and checkmate. It's a beautiful geometry, really. The queen slicing and the rook dicing to just cut the king off of the entirety of the board. But after g3, they go also pawn takes, queen e4 and queen f4. This is unironically the best move. Queen takes, and now you sort of get some squares. There are two moves again. If queen takes, this is the most complex one. Queen takes g3 is the move, and now whatever you do, like, I don't know, c4 here, and this is just checkmate. There's also another move here, just play king h3. In this case, I just simply have a checkmate. It's of course very more simple. But after g3 check, king goes to h3. And we simply have checkmate in one with the move queen g2 check mate. Thanks for watching this far. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would also appreciate it if you like and subscribe, and just comment if you have any ideas for later videos, or if you have any suggestions what I can improve on my videos. Thanks for watching so far. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.